PlayStation hasn't cared for Twisted Metal in over a decade. Last game we had was on the PlayStation 3, and I don't think we can expect another for a long time. So to have a show based on the game is both exciting and surprising. But oh, that promotion dwindled any excitement I had building up to it. The clip of Sweet Tooth singing the thong song was really bad.
Girl, you want a show?
Then at 2023's San Diego Comic-Con, they had Sweet Tooth on stage twerking to that song. It all felt like one giant joke, like another video game adaptation that had no clue what it's doing. This iconic character, who has been on every single game cover, is poorly shaking his ass to promote the show. The show had the worst first impression and it wasn't even out. Twisted Metal deserves some kind of comeback. It deserves some kind of positive recognition. Maybe the show arrived 20 years too late, but regardless, I had to give the show a chance. You know, trailers and clips can deceive. Often they're taken out of context, and I'm glad I gave Twisted Metal a chance. It's by far the most surprising adaptation PlayStation Productions has released. This is a show that's somehow both good and bad. Not so bad that's unwatchable, but good enough that you want to watch more of it. It's the perfect show to binge in a day or two. The show can be difficult to get through, at least in those first few episodes. I was afraid it was never going to get better. Thankfully, over the course of Season 1's 10 episodes, it does. When it comes to Twisted Metal, the games have never been heavy on storytelling. Each character has their own story, but the main focus has always been on car combat. Really, it wasn't until the PlayStation 3 where the story started to become a bit more prominent. So basically, the television show had the freedom to craft whatever kind of story it wanted. It needed to appease fans of the games, while also being fresh and understandable for an audience who have never played them. By having the show set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, it allows for chaos and all these explosive battles. It makes sense for all these vehicles to use crazy weapons, to have these factions of criminals and psychopaths doing anything they can to survive and maintain control. Every day is life or death, and if you aren't in the safety, security, and quite frankly, ignorant bliss of these walled cities, anything can happen. This is where John Doe comes in, an amnesiac who's basically in love with his car. His job is to transport packages through the wasteland. He's like Alice from Resident Evil. We learn about their worlds through them, and ironically, both have amnesia. John gets an offer of a lifetime by Raven. If he can pick up and deliver a package to her within a set amount of time, he'll be rewarded with a new life within the walls of New San Francisco. Of course, it's never that simple. Because then we have Quiet. When she joins John, she causes so much trouble for him. Their relationship goes from rivals to friends to something a bit more romantic, which leads to one of the most interesting sex scenes involving a ball pit. Quiet becomes one of the more fascinating characters. Her backstory is tragic. Her and her brother wanted a better life, but in his quest for dominance and order, Agent Stone changes this, and now she wants revenge. Agent Stone is our main antagonist. He's a bit pathetic, but that's the point. He's this big shot using his own version of the law to enforce respect. But once you know his backstory, it makes sense why he's like this. A ton of characters from the games make an appearance. It's more than just fanfare. These are characters that have some sort of purpose, like Stu and Mike, Bloody Mary, Preacher, Miranda Watts. Even characters from the worst Twisted Metal games are here. I was never expecting to see Granny Dread, Flower Power, Pizza Boy, Mr. Slam, and Drag Queen, yet it was so exciting to see their inclusion because it was so unexpected. And that's what's great about Twisted Metal. You never know what the show is going to throw in next, where the story's heading, what characters will pop up. It's a show that likes to change and keep the audience engaged. Though sometimes it feels like the actors struggle with the script, while other times you can tell they are just having a blast. I think it's most apparent with Neve Campbell as Raven. She feels so out of place for a character many of us know. Yet I think that's the brilliance of it because you don't expect her to be how she is in the show, and the twists that come with it. Unsurprisingly, the true star of the show is Sweet Tooth himself. The combination of Samoa Joe as the physical body of Sweet Tooth with Will Arnett as the voice shouldn't work, yet somehow the combo is perfect. If you didn't know these were two completely different people, you'd be fooled into thinking they were one and the same. What first comes across as a big joke becomes one of the best characters on the show. As the episodes roll on, Sweet Tooth has enormous character growth, becoming even crazier and more psychotic, passionately taking a stand and building up a gang of followers in the process, eventually becoming the Sweet Tooth we all know and recognize. Season 1 of Twisted Metal is an origin story, not just for Sweet Tooth, but for everyone. Through this, the show uses crude, juvenile, and just plain silly and stupid humor. It is from the people who developed Deadpool and Zombieland. Sometimes it works, Sweet Tooth's awkward stage performance being an unexpected highlight, or the DMV being a place of judgment with one of the most ridiculous torture scenes you'll ever watch. Other times, it just feels too much, like certain bits don't add anything to the story, and if they're removed, it may actually improve certain scenes, like John creepily eyeing a baby seal and eating it. Sometimes I found it distracting, giving me an eye roll before moving on. But as a longtime fan of the games, I love how much the show rewards loyalty. From simple Easter eggs to major inclusions, if you've been a fan since the beginning, there is something you will recognize. It's more than the inclusion of characters, the cars they drive, it's the smile you get seeing that classic PS1 copy of Twisted Metal fly onto John's windshield. Raven's necklace, her voodoo dolls, the neon bar sign referencing her best friend Kelly, the lone teddy bear Agent Stone picks up because he's gone too far, the kids battling out with RC cars because even Twisted Metal Small Brawl deserves some love. I mean, who remembers Sweet Tooth's reward of the brown paper lunch sack called Harold from the very first Twisted Metal game? Because the show sure does, and Harold makes more than one simple appearance. It shows just how twisted Sweet Tooth is, which makes the appearance of Blackfield Asylum even more exciting. As we know, Twisted Metal is the original car combat game. While the characters and the story are the focus of the show with more on-foot action taking place, car combat takes a bit of a back seat. It is there, just not as grand for majority of the series, and at first this is off-putting, even frustrating, but within the bigger picture of the story, it all makes sense. The show can't be the same as the video games, have too many big-scale battles and it loses its meaning. So while the show does lack these massive battles, once you finally do get to it in the finale, it's everything we've been waiting for. It's epic, it's exciting, and it's well worth the wait. That finale battle is like the games. You're set up against a number of enemies, and unless you destroy your opponents, you're not going on to that next level. Or in this case, you're not living to see another day unless you fight and win. It's important to remember that this is their adaptation of the series. The characters aren't going to be exactly how we remember them, the weapons and specials are toned down, either not as over the top or not even there. What's in the show makes sense for the show and the story. Regardless if the show was good or bad, its excessive jokes and its handling of characters, this season 1 finale redeems the entire show. Any struggle, any doubt of the show is forgiven. This is how you get people excited and wanting more. The writers did it in such a fantastic way, and I am so excited for Season 2. There is a ton to look forward to. Season 2 looks to be what you would have expected Season 1 to have been. That finale made me appreciate the characters, their relationships, the world they live in, and the build-up of what's coming. I haven't felt this excited for a new season of a show in a long time, and I'm glad this series was popular enough for a second season. Twisted Metal is a hot mess of a series, but I love it. It's rewarding for longtime fans and easy to follow. It's idiotic, it's zany, it's crazy. It's everything we need in a time where everything is a bit too serious. It's a show I could not stop thinking about after it finished. Whether you played the games or have never played Twisted Metal, the series is worth watching. It may take a few episodes to get into, but the payoff is worth it. Despite some flaws, it's great to see Twisted Metal back in the spotlight. I would love a new game, but this is a promising start for the series and I can't wait to see what's in store for Season 2. Let us know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on Twisted Metal's first season? Did you enjoy the series or was it just not for you? Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified on future content. And while you're here, check out this video on the cancelled PlayStation 5 Twisted Metal game. We were so close to having a new game until it didn't happen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.